Yo, what's up? Jeffrey. What am I, guy? Zach. What is up, man? See Fats. DR no. Let's see how many people get on here, man. I know it's Sunday. We got football. So Matt, what's up? Professor. But I feel like this is like a pretty decent time. We got what, like your 7:30 football night Sunday night football, 7:30 Central. Right, so that's an hour early. I mean, there's not much going on. There's like 3 games right now, right? There's 3 games. Yeah, we're doing a Q&A. I already have some questions lined up here. I'll be looking at. You guys throw them at me. Throw them at me. Do you have a couple of things to go over? I know, Professor, you had a question, man, on the Discord. Wanted me to look at the copycat indicator. I'm sorry, not the copycat indicator. The spots indicator. Spots indicator is displayed right here on the AMC chart. We're going to go on the weekly chart. If you want more information on what this actually does, go on the TradingView link below, and it'll explain to you a little bit more in detail here of like what its actual purpose is. What's the goal here that we're trying to do here with this indicator? But basically, on the weekly chart, what we have right now is we have this setup here, and we have this setup here basically in the entire market, really, where we're coming very close to crossing this curve line here of resistance, right? And we got very close back here on the August POI. So this is the August POI. So you can see we crossed right through it, and then we fell back down, back into that level of resistance. Okay, so this current setup here is primed for the February POI. We go back here. Okay, this is right back here. Okay, right before we had that January run up in 2021, we fell back into the channel. So we crossed, we fell back in, and then we remained here for a little bit before crossing back up. Now, I'm not going to pay too much attention to what's happening right in here. We are currently trading on those levels. So, one could say we're trading right here. That doesn't mean that we have to follow the rest of the sequence here and then fall back down and go back up, right? It just means that, well, on that second cross we got, it was a pretty nice cross. It was pretty parabolic. This was a 1,000% move here on AMC. So if we were expecting something similar, again, I'm not going to go into the percentages or what I think is going to happen next on this cross here. I'm just going to tell you that based on the current events, it's very likely that if we do continue this uptrend here, we're going to set up for a pretty nice push on the December POI, which is coming up here, and it should be about 100% move if all does track and play out like expected to. So, but yeah, weekly POI action here on the spots curve. Spots, spots pink curve line here about to cross with a blue spot. All right. Oh, all right. We got a few of you in here. That was quick. I was not expecting that. I was like, dude, it's football. Well, hello. Sade, Corey, C-Fats, James, Matt, Mountain Saint Funk, Alf, James, Nana, Joseph, so POIs are not predictions. Points of interest, I'm not predicting that we are going, like, it has been predicted before, and I've been wrong before in that that was going to be the major move we get. The points of interest here are just volatility zones on AMC, and they're accurate. There hasn't been a point of interest on AMC that does not play out within the cycle that we track here, the 62-day cycle. So it's not about knowing exactly when this is going to play out. It's about tracking and narrowing down when we can expect it. So it's just tracking these zones, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to predict or tell you when it's going to happen. I can tell you when it's most likely going to happen, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to predict prices. I'm not going to predict anything like that because, well, I mean, that's not what this play is. This is not what we're doing right now. We're just trying to crack the algorithm, which we have been by tracking these zones, and they have worked, man. So pull up here, AMC. This chart looks so pretty. Let's see if TradingView doesn't mess this up for me. And it didn't. We're good. I like to pull it up here, man, for those of you that are coming in and are new to the channel, because I think it's important that you guys know. And, I get a lot of people, man. I get a lot of people just bummed and like, yo, you said it was going to happen this day. You wasn't this gonna, and that's not, I think it's a misunderstanding really in the community with cycle. Anybody who does like cycle analysis and, says that I am over here predicting the squeeze on this date or whatever. No, dude, we're just tracking these zones, these volatility zones. All of these here you can clearly see have some kind of big volume here. At least the green ones do, which are the important ones here, because that's when we have all of these run-ups. Volume, 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 and volume. All of these land within the green portion of the cycle. That hasn't changed. That's the same every single time we've had these run-ups here on AMC. So, until this stops tracking, until we get a major move, and I'm talking about a major move. Like, I want to see this much volume, like we saw back here in June, January, August, and March. When we get that somewhere else in the cycle, then I will say, okay, you know what? The cycle's not working anymore. Let's go ahead and step back here and figure out what's going on. And the most likely outcome of that is going to be that we are transitioning over to a new cycle, which is typically a bullish sign. So that means we're going to reach for higher levels, higher price. So, dude, I'm kind of hoping that does happen at some point here whenever we do set up for that. But right now, that's not the case. So we're going to continue to track the cycle here, man, on these POIs. But I'm here for Q&A, baby. So ask away. I'm still going to answer your questions, even if they're bearish or whatever on AMC. It's just like, guys, yo. I appreciate that, Matt. I really do, man. We got a pretty, overall pretty good, pretty nice community here. It's pretty all, being on the same page that we're trying to figure this whole thing out. And I think it's important to stay on track and stay optimistic, All right, let's see. We got some questions here. Echo wants to know a little bit about Bitcoin. So we're going to pull up Bitcoin. Because, yeah, Bitcoin has a lot to do with the cycles, right? Cycles, it's actually, Bitcoin right now is the main indicator we're tracking for this next push we're going to get here in the market. So there's a lot of volatility here intraday. You can say intraday on crypto because 24/7, right? Yeah, there's so many cryptos going up, squeezing, right, and then they come back down like pump and dumps. So there's a lot of opportunity in the crypto game right now. But you can see here, we are starting to trail back down, and we're ready to come down on this next this next breather. I talked about this with the SPY last week, and I said that this week we will finally expect that next leg down. I don't believe that we're going to get all-time lows again, or shorter term lows here in the market. I do think that we are ready to start climbing back up. But this is why we're getting that pressure now here on Bitcoin, because I think it is ready for that spring. That spring, I talked about this before here. I am expecting that 1250 range, 12,500, okay, for a potential spring and rally here. And one thing I really did put out, I was saying that with the whole FTX thing that just happened, guys, that is the only that is basically the last bearish catalyst we're going to get here in the markets, in my opinion. I think that that's going to scare the hell out of people. It already scared the hell out of people. And I think the next thing these markets are going to do is come out with crypto regulations. And then that'll be the last catalyst here that, well, there's going to be some that are going to think that's a bullish catalyst. There's going to be some that are going to think that's a bearish catalyst, right? There are crypto regulations, very small, but we need like pretty major regulations. And I think that's what big institutions, banks are waiting for. And that should be the spring catalyst, in my opinion. I think that something's going to happen here. Things start dumping. Crypto regulations come in very quickly. And then we start going back up again. And it's like, I mean, if they're trying to screw retail over, guys, think about how they're going to do that. FTX was a big catalyst here. And that's their plan. We're trading at these low levels, these like extremely low levels, coming close to 70K all the way down to basically 10K, guys. And now these guys are coming out with, yo, FTX, it's dangerous, all this shit. And they're getting ready to just bring this because Bitcoin is not going anywhere. Bitcoin is not going anywhere. So how much lower can it really go, right? I think we are very close here to finally hitting that bottom here and springing back up. Let's do the 3-day real quick on Bitcoin. Okay, so you can see it's a massive projector pattern. Still respecting these levels of support. We're just right here, just barely entering, okay? This, you can see it on the spots indicator here, showing you that rounded out moving average that we need. You don't want to pay too much attention to the wicks, or in this case here on the 3-day, some of these candles that go in very quickly. I am expecting this right here, okay, which we saw happen back in March. I think once you are trading at these lower levels, it is hard, but it is going to be basically what these guys are waiting for. It's going to be a pretty massive pushback down before things just start to come back up. Now, I'm not going to really get into where I think the price is going to go after this, but I do think it'll be a bottom for a while. And I think that this is going to be an opportunity here to make some money, right? Reach the bottom. It'll probably double or triple in price very quickly. I think once it does get to that 1250 range, we should expect, 40,000 next. I'm not going to get into when I think that's going to happen, but I do see that as part of this journey, man, this next journey here on Bitcoin, where it goes next from there. Baby steps. All right. Thank you, Nana. Thank you. Asian, my man, you think we touch 15 by 17 December POI, trace back to the low 10s? On AMC, so I'm going to show you the December POI setup. You can find this on TradingView as well. You can find it on the website. I just posted it on the website. The website got another makeover. And you can see that right on the bottom. It'll show you the chart, and you can click on AMC, and it'll show you the POI that I'm tracking right now, which is this one. This is what I'm expecting. It's basically a parallel channel, and it's narrowing down to create this hovering projector pattern. Okay, so remember, when you're reaching higher levels, you want to have a bigger projector. So this little projector right here shot us all the way up to the scale chart here, 43, which used to be 77 on AMC's chart. In this case, projector would be a lot bigger, and it would set us up to go up in February. But you can see right here on this projection, this is not really calling for AMC's chart as a whole, which is AMC plus APE. It's just calling for AMC's chart, right? So it's not including APE at all on this. If it was including APE, the price would be a lot greater. It would be a lot bigger. And it would be around that $20 range, I would say, if it was plus APE. But you can see here, I'm expecting about a push up to 14 first on December, and then a push back down again to 8 before we do start climbing back up. That's just what I expect based on these historical events. If this doesn't happen and we have another inverse POI, then we're going to have to look at the charts again and really understand what's going on. We do have, I've already given you guys the bearish scenario. It's using basically ARPA's chart here. It was a crypto that I looked at, and I had never seen a more accurate pattern. The entire AMC pattern, it's right here. This is ARPA. Okay. This right here is basically playing to a T right now. However, we also have Ethereum's chart. Ethereum's chart looks a lot better. It looks the same as well, but right here on this POI, we start to see it climb back up and basically do this. Okay, so that is the bullish. The bullish case kind of goes with that a little bit more, but we're going to find out very soon with what the market is doing. If the market does start trailing back up, then it's very possible we're going to have a positive POI here on AMC in December, and then that's going to take us straight up to the projector, which we should expect some nice gains in February. All right. Matt. Let's see, real quick, I missed one. All right, Matt, the game plan, if you don't see the pullback early this week, broader market. So, yeah, if we don't see this pullback here on AMC, which is also a likely scenario, then we're gonna have to see, because look, the thing is, we are entering the next cycle, okay? And this is very important. You know, last cycle we played out the POI a little bit later than expected. Here you can see in March, it happened right around the projector here as we started to shoot up in the green portion. And it normally happens within this window, which is a very short window. It's a 10-day window. So right here, we saw it happen right here towards the middle. And it's possible that on this one, since, you know, as cycles, you know, happen over and over again, you do get this sort of like stretch effect. And this is why we have, this is, if you guys remember watching the Ethereum Classic video where I talk about the cycle separation, that applies to the 62-day cycle as well. It's just a way in which months align, and then you get these rollover dates every year. So, you know, little by little, it is going to shift. So this is why here I would expect things to sort of happen right towards the middle of December. But it's possible that we start playing out the cycle right here on the projector as well. And that would just mean, well, it's still in the POI, but it would be end of November going into December, right? Instead of early December. So it's a range, but it's going to be about a 10-day range in which we can expect that to go up here. So that's really the game plan here, is just going to wait to see what happens. I think regardless of whether AMC goes up or not, there's gonna be a breather stage unless there's a catalyst that nobody's expecting, and then the price just skyrockets, right? Which would be um, a pretty hard thing to do, I think, right now where we're at. You can see even back here on this, AMC went up and then it came back down. It's your second chance to get in. That's what we call it, right? The projector pattern, second chance to get in. And this is just trailing right up here on this range. It hasn't had a breather. I think opening here on Monday, what we can expect is a push back up and then a rejection on Tuesday, because Tuesday is when we expect the market to take a breather. Okay? That is just expectations. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's something that, just based on the cycle and everything else that I've been looking at here, I think we're going to expect something like that here in the markets. Okay. All right, Supras, do analysis on GME. T plus 90 coming up for both GME and AMC. Yeah, let's do GME. I already had some of these. So I talked about GME last week. We're on the 3-day here, and it actually looks pretty good on the 3-day. Okay, so the 3-day chart, I guess we can kind of stay on here. So what I was expecting for GME, and so far it is playing out, I'm expecting a wedge. So I think with this next drop that we get here in the market, let's do the 6 hour. So with AMC, like I said, we are expecting some consolidation. So just very quick to that 625, 650 range before we start climbing back up. And I think here, with what GME is doing, it's likely that we will have a pushback down. Now, there is a shorter term volatility zone that I'm tracking here on GME, and it's possible that we do rally in the short term, but it's a very small point of interest that I've been tracking here, and I don't want to, I like to have a lot of confirmation before I feel strongly about something. And right now, I think GME is also prepping to come back down with the market. So could have a very short run here on Monday, even if there was a short run on Monday to that $30 range. GME still has room to do this, and this is the wedge I've been talking about here that I'm expecting here before we get to the. Now this was moved here by TradingView because you have this problem all the time. So this wedge here is supposed to look a little bit like this, so that we set up right in December to climb back up with AMC. Okay, and then you can see right here on this pattern, basically be like a double bottom setup. A shorter term double bottom setup could turn into a massive cup, and then really you get up to this range here at the $40 range if you want to do that handle or not, and then start climbing back up. And this is really going to be that start of either a bullish channel or not. This is where we're going to find out here if AMC and GameStop are going to be in a bullish channel, man. So nothing has changed much here with the analysis I've done here on GME. I think things are still the same, still expecting the wedge. We're going to see here on Monday, we're going to see if we do have a spike back up. I'm still going to remain pretty skeptical here about the price action moving forward, just because, if you're expecting downside on AMC, it's very likely that you're going to get that here on GameStop as well, since they do track each other very, very closely together. Okay. I'm going down the line, guys, so I will get to you, I promise. Alrighty. Ethan, I'll talk about the SPY. Yeah, let's do the SPY. So with everything I just went over, all the charts and everything I'm tracking, Obviously, this comes down to what the market is going to do, right? The market is very important here for all POIs to be active, right? We have this trend line right now that we're tracking, which I think the entire market is, right? It's just a very simple resistance trend line that we haven't crossed, but we're very close to it. Now, one that we went over last week was the secondary level of resistance, which we clearly got rejected off of. So it was a major level to track, and this is where we expected last week on the micro POI. We had the SPY here, and it played out very nicely. In fact, I still have that on the website. It's because it's the micro POI sometimes are extended 2 weeks, so you will see a trend line that lasts 2 weeks, not just 1 week. Some of them have just a 1 week trend line. The other ones, and it's a curved trend line is what it is, because it's just a projection. Micro POIs and macro POIs are just, think of it as like a watch list, except we're tracking points of interest, so using the cycle. And then there's a curve line you get with those charts, and they're on the website, obviously. But that's what we had here for the SPY, and it looks a little bit like this, right? So here, going into Monday, I'm expecting a possible gap down. Now, we're going to get a little, once we do have the markets opening up here very soon, and a little bit later towards 10 o'clock is when we start to get more of that price action here. Futures will react to that time a little bit more. So I do wait for some confirmation, not all the time, but just based on what crypto was doing today, I kind of got a little bit of a hint of what I thought was going to happen here in the markets. But crypto dipping right now might be preparing for a greater dip. Normally, you could think of it both ways. It could be a fake out where it's dipping and then it starts to rally with the market. But to me, I think crypto is still ready for that next dip back down. And I talked about how this next push back down here in the markets could be that catalyst here for crypto to get that spring. So it might not be a great dip. This thing might just go to 380 or 385 and then bounce. But I think crypto is going to take a bigger dip. Yeah, it's going to be a much greater dip than the markets. I think the markets are trailing back up, and they're finally ready to start, this trend back up. So it's going to be important to watch for that level. Okay, it is a parallel channel that we're currently in. Parallel channel right here. A nice little parallel channel. Okay, you can see right now we're just trading right here on this mid-range. Okay, and this is where you kind of, depending on the setup and where it's at, I normally stay away from this level. I don't like trading on this level, but in this case, I do still see us continuing back down here into open and then hitting that 385 before we either make a rejection or we start pushing back up again. But this is what I got, man, for the SPY. Man, crazy times here in the markets. I think we're like so close to just busting through. One of the things I will say, and this is why Professor earlier brought up the how we're very close to crossing the blue spot on the spots indicator, which is a really nice indicator. You can see it right here. I laid over on every chart, on every time frame, everything, because it's very, very accurate. It's very nice. So here you can see on the weekly chart how powerful this is. So here you get a cross, right? This is your resistance trend line, which is a resistance curve trend line, which is pink. Blue cross is normally a bullish sign, and then your blue acts as support. So it's your support curve trend line. As you can see here, we cross, we remain bullish, we bounce, and then as soon as we cross back down, it's bearish. You come back into it. When you have these short curve lines here, these are extremely bullish on the spots indicator. So the fact that this one's very short, you can see here that until it got to that point here where it crossed, look at what happened, right? We remained bullish until that one cross on the weekly chart. And then we came back down, we bounced off of resistance, came back down again, bounced off of resistance, and then we're currently at resistance. This chart right here, I think, is the most important chart to look at right now, because here in the next week, Not in the next week, but I would say in the next 2-3 weeks, we're gonna find out if this is gonna be rejected or not. And this is as the closer we get to the December POI here, the more we're gonna know, because you guys know that points of interest line up with the markets as well. Okay, all the points of interest that we've had indicators that the market rallies first, and then AMC likes to rally right before they rug pull it and they start pushing it back down. So it's going to be important that we do cross this. As soon as we get the cross, that's going to be my indicator that it's very likely we're going to turn around here in the markets and we're going to start going back up. Alrighty, all right. You're very welcome. Yeah, I saw that too. That a lot of people were looking at MMAT as one of the stocks here to squeeze. This was one of the ones we had. We were tracking this 2 weeks ago, but it was on the POI last week, and we had that like pretty spot on here on the indicators. If I can pull it up. Again, all this stuff is going to be on the website, how you can track some of the POIs. I will say I'm for this play. However, the push we just got here, guys, you have to remember that, from the bottom here is 200% on Meta Materials, okay? This has the potential to keep pushing, but I think we're at a consolidation phase. I think even if we came back up here to double top, it's very likely that we're going to consolidate for a little bit. I think that based on this pattern, it is kind of making a hovering projector, which hovering projectors are just projector patterns that never come down and touch their support trend line, okay? So it's currently hovering, right? As soon as we come back down and then touch a level of support, which there's a couple here you can really look at. This is one. You can really, based on this, you would create another one. But what I see happening is a possible double top, maybe something like this, and then it starts coming back down. I just don't see, based on this parabolic move that we just got, I don't see us completely hitting like major levels here, like a squeeze sort of play here on MMAT for a little while. I'm not saying it wouldn't happen next week or anything, but I do think we're going to have another chance at getting in here for potential lower levels. I want to be wrong, man, but it's, based on these plays, normally that's how they play out here. MMAT, you can see we're currently at resistance. Not only back here, we talked about the 220 being like a major level here. And if we come close, a very quick wick gets canceled back down, you would get something like this. So, but yeah, I'm definitely going to keep updating this because, again, this was on the POI list last week, and we got a very nice gain. You can see here, 60%. Yeah, very, very nice stuff here on the spots indicator too. You can see we just came down. We just crossed here on the 1 hour chart. Let's see what the copy pat indicator is looking like. Let's do a 50 forecast. Copy pat's another indicator that I have here, and all it's supposed to do is give you a different perspective using cycle parameters of what is possible here. You can see it's spitting this out, and all this is supposed to do is just sort of open up that perspective on the analysis you're already doing. It's not supposed to predict what's going to happen. It's not supposed to forecast and tell you what's going to happen. This is why we play around with it. You can see on every different time frame, you're going to get something a little bit different. There's going to be one here, just watch, where it's bearish, for example, right here. And now this is where you kind of look at both, because now we have a really nice copy pat setup here for like a potential rest here. So coming back and testing support with the spots indicator that you can clearly see is respecting the support trend line. Okay, and then it's basically a way to just project what could potentially happen here moving forward. I think it's a really nice mix. These two together, amazing. I am going to have a scanner out soon. I did go over this on Friday. That's the next thing I'm working on. It's going to stock a stock scanner that tracks the entire market for historical patterns. And then you can find those patterns and then actually bring them on forward. So copy path indicator won't do that because the copy path indicator is scanning for a certain time window, and then it's spitting out basically a smoothed curve of that time window that you're tracking, and then it gives you like a formulated pattern based on that, and you get important points of interest based on time. Because the thing about tracking some patterns sometimes and just drawing, with your little brush tool is that you won't have the correct time that you're tracking here. Charts are very specifically patterns, and fractals have have very specific points of interest that do track based on time. And if you don't get those completely right here, this is what copypath does, then you can have certain things shifted a little bit to the right or the left, and that can be a problem, right? For scalps or anything like that, I do use the 15 second, and the 15 second is really good on the SPY. I've been doing the SPY, man. 50 second is awesome. If you want more information on these indicators too, click the link below. The website, again, it got a makeover, and you can sign up for that. Also, I didn't mention this, but I'm doing a November promo. Now that we are in Thanksgiving, everything's 50% off, so click on that link, man, and join up. The highest tier possible is only $50. So get on in there, man, and I'm going to trade some good stuff. I did start trading crypto as well, so futures, BingX, and KuCoin. And we're doing that right now, again, with the market dip that just happened. Bitcoin market dip. Okay. Do I think dilution helps cause an increase in price action? Normally, it wouldn't, like on any other stock. But what we've seen before on AMC is we see short-term downside followed by a rally. So I think it kind of gives the opportunity, maybe gives the shorts an opportunity or something to start, since the stock is already diluting. And with dilution, it makes it harder for a stock to run. So if they're able to kind of suppress it and use dilution against it, it might help them in the end. And that's why you see like a short-term run happen on AMC following those previous dilutions that we've had. But I think it's a little bit different now that we have sort of ape trading on the side. And, we're getting a little bit more information every day on how things are behaving, and I'm starting to get a good picture here of like what we are going to expect moving forward, just based on what AMC is doing by itself. But yeah, I would love to see a little bit more information. I was hoping for a little bit more information on earnings, but I think soon we're going to have a catalyst on ape. There has to be, because I think a lot of people are definitely waiting for some answers. Alrighty. Well, we have a new banger to ride to the rocket. Yeah, man, for sure. I already have a nice little playlist somebody sent me on Twitter, and I was like, dude, you have good taste, man, because that shit was funky. It was so funky. trying to see this. Louise, do I think there's the last run squeeze was caused by share recalls from borrowers? The last runs, the one that happened, are you talking about the major run we had in January, or are you talking about the June run up? Those are two major ones we've had, but August and March of this year were smaller rallies, but they were rallies, but they were smaller ones. For sure. Matt, thank you, man, for coming. Alrighty. Looking down here, guys. Again, Sunday Q&As are normally something I just do on the side here for Discord. I wanted to come on and do like an overall little Discord here on the YouTube for that. But it runs about 45 minutes every time, 30, 45 minutes. I will be going live this week on stream as well, so you'll see me on stream. If you guys do have any questions or anything like that, just feel free to join up the Discord, and I'm on there. You know, I do post on the For You page a lot, and that's just free for anybody to join. If you want to click on the link below, you can. If you want more information on the membership part of it or anything like that, then you do have, again, the spots indicator. We have the copy pad indicator. I'm working on a scanner that I'm going to post soon. That'll be probably the best thing to date, because I think that having this algorithm scan patterns, actually spit out accurate patterns that it's scanning, is a very major thing here in the market, especially with cycle analysis. And then obviously option, crypto plays, all that good stuff, a nice little chat, and plenty of more things, man. Alrighty, so I'm gonna leave it there today. I know a lot of you are probably gonna go watch some football or some soccer. And I'll see you guys next week. Alrighty. Take care. Bye-bye. See you, man.